Hi, welcome to my channel Mostly Knitting. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new here, this is a podcast where I talk mostly about the knitting that I've been doing during the week, and I also put out regular tutorials. I will just say that I am actually taking next week off though, so it is Wednesday the 3rd of April 2024, and I won't be doing a recording on Wednesday the 10th. Nothing drastic, just need a week off with work and just busyness, and then I'll be back recording weekly after that. Right, so I'm going to start off with my finished objects. I have two finished objects this week, and one of which I am wearing. This is Early Bloomer by Heidi Kirrmaier. Now the main yarn, the body yarn, so it's a DK Purl sweater, top. I guess it is actually designed as a top. I guess you could turn it into a sweater if you wanted, but it's actually designed as a top. And the yarn that I use, the main body yarn, is Rerum Natura Penelope in the colorway, I think I've been saying Orgeat, but maybe it's Orgeat. I think that might be how you pronounce it, or at least closer to how you pronounce it. Maybe the G is sort of a soft J, Orgeat, something like that. Anyway, that's the main color. This is actually all I have left of 4 balls, my swatch. I knit all of it. All 4 balls is about 530 meters, so I knit everything, and I was willing to rip out my swatch if I needed to, but actually I was happy with the length. So it's a top down, and you actually start here, and then you knit the ferrule and knit the body, and then you come back and pick up stitches and do the neckline. And I actually got to about here, and then I did the neckline just to make sure everything else was fitting okay. And it is designed with this little contrast trim, which I think is really pretty. I really like it. So the yarn, aside from the main yarn, the contrast colors were actually these ones here. This is Madelinetosh DK Twist, and there was like a gradient of 8 different pinks, and these were the leftovers from that, so I thought I'd use that. So I knit the extra small, and that was a 31-inch bust circumference. And I thought my gauge might end up being a little bit bigger. I used larger needles. The pattern has you use 3.5 for the body and millimeters, and 3 millimeters for the ribbing. I used 4 for the body and 3.5 for the ribbing, and I got I ended up right on gauge, because this sweater is exactly 31 inches. So I knit it to 11 inches down. It was actually 10 inches, and then it blocked down to 11. So yeah, so it's so I'm just wearing it with some jeans at the moment, and it seems to sit like at a really good spot. Like it just sort of covers. It's got quite a deep ribbing. So yeah, I'll stand back and show you. So yeah, just wearing it with jeans, and show you the back as well. So it's got some short rows at the back. You actually do them afterwards. When you pick up the stitches, you then do the short rows and then the rest of the neckline. Yeah, I think it's actually really sweet. I'd have to say the yarn is not perfect for, it's not really meant for ferrule actually. It's the DK Twist is superwash. It's, yeah, like, I mean, if you look really closely, I'm not 100% happy with down here and some of these floats here. You can see some of these floats through the fabric. So, you know, but like, it's good enough. I'm happy to finish it. I used the, you know, I don't know what else I would have used, the Orgeat, the Penelope Natura Penelope yarn. It is it's a DK weight, 90% wool, 10% silk. It's really nice and soft, but it's actually, I reckon it's better for, like, sorry, I don't know what my dog can see, cables, or yeah, it has really good stitch definition, really nice, beautiful, smooth, but that's actually the kind of stuff that makes it not as good for ferrule, because you kind of want it a little bit fluffy and a little bit of, you know, something to meld in with ferrule, so that the 2 stitches, instead of standing, you know, really nicely, but sort of separate, which is really nice in either cables or, you know, just sort of textured stitches or whatever. It's not as good for color work. So I wouldn't use that yarn for color work, and I certainly wouldn't use the DK Twist for color work either. But, you know, I'm happy it's done. I'm definitely gonna wear it. And I think this is kind of what I would wear it with, either with just some jeans, or maybe with some work pants. Like, I still think it's really quite sweet. Maybe some navy work pants might be quite nice. Yes, so I don't think there's anything else that I had to say about that. I'm happy with it. This is the first time I've worn it. I only just blocked it yesterday. I was just weaving in the ends last night, and it dried. It's still pretty warm here in Sydney. It dried pretty quickly. I mean, I did have it on my, bed with a fan, on it overnight and during the day today, because it's the afternoon now. But yeah, it's perfectly dry, and yeah, I really like it. The other finished object that I have is actually one that I hadn't even started last week, and that's just a sweet little newborn baby hat. I think it might end up being like maybe closer to a 3-month size, actually somewhere between a 0 and 3 month size. One of my co-workers is due in just a few weeks, and I thought, and it's her first baby, and she knows she's having a boy, and I mean, I know you don't need like to be gender specific or whatever with colors, but I just thought this was a pretty blue anyway. So this is the Welcome to the World newborn hat. The yarn is something that I had in stash for ages. I know it's a Pirate Purls yarn, and it's a DK weight yarn, but I can't remember the exact, like I bought it so long ago, it's probably like 10 years ago, and it was at like a, I don't know, like a stand somewhere, and so, and I really like her yarns actually, but because I only bought one skein, I wasn't quite sure what to do with it, but I'm very happy with that sweet little hat. I think it is super wash, but even if it wasn't, like hats don't need washing that often. So what I did was, the pattern, I'm not even sure, it comes in 2 sizes. I think I might have even gone a next size up. I cast on 72 stitches, and I used a 3.25 millimeter needle for the 2x2 ribbing, and then a 3.75 millimeter for the body. I knit stockinette until, like, after the ribbing, I think I knit 7 rows of ribbing, and then switched to the 3.75 stockinette until I got about 3.5 inches from the bottom, and then I started doing my standard decreases. So 72 stitches is 9 lots of 8, so I decrease in groups of 8. So I just knit 7, knit 2 together, which turns 9 into 8, knit around even, knit 6, knit 2 together, etc., all the way around, and then that way you get your spiral. It's a very standard kind of beanie decrease, where it just sort of sits flush on your head. Obviously I can't try that on. So it weighs 17 grams. It's 11, obviously the ribbing pulls in a little bit, but from this section here it's 11.5 inches across and 5 inches deep. So I think that's probably a little bit big for a brand newborn. It's probably going to work better around maybe, if the baby's due in May, maybe June, July, which is our winter. So I thought that might be nice for when she's getting out and about. So that's my other finished object. So my next segment is Friend from the Vault, and if you're new here, this is something that I knit earlier, like sometimes a decade or more ago, and because I've been knitting for such a long time, it's nice to be able to show something each week from something that I knit in my pre-recording days. So this is actually a shawl, and it's actually one of my favorites in terms of just one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever knit. I think it's really, really pretty. I think it's really pretty. Hope you like it. And it's the Rock Island Shawl by Jared Flood, and I knit it in 2012. I'll just show you. So I used the recommended yarn and recommended colorway. I don't often do that. I usually try to find something local, but I just found this so beautiful, and I really wanted the effect, and I really wanted that color. It's kind of like it's a really lovely purple. It's so pretty. Anyway, I think it's gorgeous. So the yarn is Lorna's Laces Helen's Lace in Grand Street ink, and it's a 50% wool, 50% silk. Just hold it up. I'm so proud of this actually, blend. And it actually, I don't even know if they still make the yarn. I'll put it down if the yarn's still going. I bought it from Jimmy Bean's Wool, which I think is where most of the Lorna's Laces is sold through. And the skein was 121 grams, and this shawl only weighs 50 grams, so it's very, very light. I was actually just before recording, I was thinking, I wonder what happened to the other 71 grams. So either I gave it away or I sold it, but I don't have it. I'm really hoping that I probably would have, before I sold whatever was left, I would have wound off a little bit for any kind of, like, if anything gets snagged or if something gets to it. I mean, obviously this is 12 years old, nearly 12, maybe 11 and a half years old now, and it's still, like nothing's happened to it, but if something did, I'd be very sad. So the way you knit this pattern actually is you start this, you actually do this, just this, the edging, like on only a few stitches back and forth. And that was so tedious. Like I thought it would never end. There are 12, either the number of stitches changes depending on whether you're on a point or this narrow bit, but it goes between 12 and 16 stitches, back and forth, back and forth. I don't know how many rows there are in a repeat. I guess you can kind of see from here to here is a repeat, maybe, yeah, here to here I think, but there are 71 repeats. So it's just back, forth, and it was not, yeah, it was not fun. I actually timed myself, and I think I made a note, each repeat took me 7 minutes, but you know, just because of all the faffing and turning and whatever, I could only get about 6 done in an hour. So on average, 10 minutes for a repeat, and 71, like that's a lot. But I just love, I absolutely love, so after you do that, you then pick up along the edge and then you knit, you know, in decreasing rows. Decreasing? Yeah, because you're actually knitting kind of down here like that and then decreasing until you get to the final edge and then bind off. But I keep holding it up because I just think it's so pretty. So this is my fancy shawl. So if I'm going out somewhere and in the evening and I just want something really lightweight to put in my bag, because obviously it squishes down to nothing, but it doesn't crinkle or anything, like it doesn't crease or whatever, like it just sort of bounces back. And I just think it's, so you can either wear it obviously like that, or you know, like if you're actually cold you can, but I think obviously it's just so beautiful. Okay, anyway, that's enough on that. You obviously can tell I really like it and I'm really proud of it. And it actually wasn't that, like the knitting itself wasn't especially hard. And I think I've got in my notes that once you get to the body, it's actually really easy and really memorizable. Like you're basically doing the same thing and then just maybe pay attention a little bit when you get to the center spine. Right, okay, so that's my friend from the vault. I waffled on a bit about that, but I think it was worth it because like it's a worthy project. It was worth talking about. So yeah, if you've ever, I don't know, it's obviously been out for a really long time, but if you're looking for a really beautiful, elegant shawl to make and you don't mind 71 repeats of, you know, if you can put yourself through it, I think it is worth it. I don't see myself making another one. So yeah, I just hope nothing happens to that one. Right, so I'm onto my works in progress. I have a couple of new ones actually, besides the hat, which obviously was a work in progress and then became a finished object. So I have 2 to show you. This one is actually a hat. I've got more yarn somewhere. This is just using leftover yarn. It's not even a pattern really. It's just a basic hat that I'm knitting for my daughter Mia's grandfather Gaby. And what I do for him is because he loves my knit hats. He really feels the cold. He's always wearing jumpers even in winter, and beanies particularly. And so I did a provisional cast on. So I should tell you what the yarn is. This is Madelinetosh DK in the colorway DK, not DK Twist. So Madelinetosh DK in the colorway Cloak, which is a really nice sort of mottled blackish kind of color. So I did a provisional cast on of 96 stitches. I knit 8 rows on a 3.75mm needle. Then I knit another 8 rows on a 4mm needle. And then I joined, you know, unpicked the provisional cast on, knit every live stitch with, you know, knit 2 together, one from the cast on, one from the body. And so that created that folded brim, just like that. And now I'm just knitting straight up. And the way Gaby likes to wear his hats is he likes to finish them like right up here, like even above the ear. So they're almost like just little skull caps. He doesn't want, well, they only just cover the ear. So it means they're very quick to knit, and they usually only take about 50 grams of yarn. So this is using up leftovers, and it won't take me long to finish up. And because it is coming to winter and he wears his hats every day, and he said, oh, they're starting, I think I might have even made him one already in this yarn. But you know, with and this is machine washable yarn, which is good, so it won't shrink. But you know, I think they get worn all the time, and they do go in the wash and whatever. So anyway, he's very knit worthy. He always appreciates them and wears them, and yeah, lets me know that he really likes them. So yes, so I'll definitely make him more. So that one's on the needles, and of course that's really nice, easy, portable knitting, and knitting that I can do even when I'm walking, because it's just round and round and round. And I've also been doing a lot of professional development stuff and watching watching videos on work stuff. So that's been handy for that too. Right, so that's one new work in progress, and that should be finished, you know, certainly within the next couple of weeks. And the other work in progress is another pair of Skimmer socks. So this is knit out of, so it's Skimmer socks by Sheila Stromberg, knitting on a 2.25mm needle. This is some yarn that I bought when I was in Japan. It's the KFS Opal sock yarn. And it's this kind of really, obviously, it's a 50-gram ball, and I only need about 34 grams for the socks. So this is just the first one. These are from my friend Amy. It's her birthday on the 13th of April. So, and it's what, now the 3rd now. So I should be able to get these done. I only started these ones a couple of days ago. They're so quick. I actually had to, it's interesting, like I kind of went on autopilot a bit, and I was just doing everything to the same number of rows as my previous ones. But this yarn, it's 50 grams and it's 212 meters. So it's pretty good yardage, but it's actually quite plump. And the row gauge is actually quite a bit longer than, well, the rows are taller than a lot of my other ones. So I just knit to like this here, you know, 18, whatever, did the increases, 18 rows here. And then I think I got to 49 rows here, and I put it on and I was like, whoa, that's way too long. So I had to rip back 8 rows. I hope I haven't ripped back too much. Amy's feet are pretty similar to mine, maybe a smidge smaller. So I'm hoping that's okay. Anyway. We'll see. I actually have other presents for her besides these. So even if these don't work or they don't fit, she can give them to maybe to one of her daughters who's younger, and I'll make, and maybe smaller feet. And I'll just make her another pair. Anyway, they're coming along, and that's also my good portable knitting. So they're my only 2 new works in progress. So my other works in progress, I have, oh, how many more do I have? Three more. So the Storm Sweater. So I'm making the Storm Sweater by Petite Knit, and I'm using Pure Gynt in the colorway Ash Melange, which is actually the yarn and the color, doing it again, yarn and the color for the pattern. But I just thought it looked so nice. So this is the back, and I have, I haven't done a lot, but I did, just want to make sure they don't clank. So you cast on, I misspoke last time. I sort of tried to fix it in the edit, but you actually cast on all of these stitches here, and then you work, I think you actually drop the yarn, and then you, like you cut the yarn and actually come back here, and then you just knit with short rows, increasing out until you get to the full stitch count. So I've actually finished the back to the point where so I've actually cut the yarn, you can see, and let me see, and I've put some stitch markers here because I'm now about to pick up, sorry, it's going to be hard for me to stop that clanking. It's got really lovely textured stitches, you know, this textured like changing pattern in like horizontal rows, and I'm about to pick up, so this is, it's going to be like here, like that, and I'm about to pick up stitches here and then start working coming forward. So yeah, like it's oh sorry, dropped stuff. It's an interesting, like it's really engaging and interesting, but it's not taking up too much brain space or whatever. And actually I think the last podcast I was saying how it's a bit like, it doesn't look super, like the yarn seems a bit meh as it's knitting up, it feels a bit crunchy. And somebody said that they really found that when they blocked it, it really softened up and it was really nice. And I actually thought, you know what, let me find my swatch, because I did wash and block my swatch. I didn't like wash it in the washing machine, but I just sort of, you know, maybe there's some kind of something still like in the yarn or something. Anyway, it really, not only is it heaps softer, it actually feels really lovely. I mean, I wouldn't wear it as, it's not around the neck. It's totally fine for a sweater, but it doesn't feel, like it feels really nice and soft for like a jumper. There, no problem at all. I mean, I'm not super sensitive, but yeah, that feels really nice actually. And I think that actually the stitches look really nice. Like I think it actually blocks out, it really kind of blooms a little bit and fills in, because when you look at this, I'm just going to show you. It kind of, do you see it kind of looks a little bit gappy and a bit untidy almost? Whereas here, I think that looks great. So it's giving me a lot more confidence to keep knitting on it and more excited about finishing it. So it's still very warm here. It's not going to be winter weather for a little while, but I think this will be a really nice oversized. So what I haven't mentioned, I'm using the recommended needle size, I think, which is a 4mm needle. And I'm knitting the extra small, which is 42.5 inches, which will be 10 inches of positive ease for me. So it's a very oversized sweater. But yeah, I think I'm really enjoying the knitting, and I think it's going to be something I'll be really happy to have in my wardrobe. So now that this is finished, I'm excited to give that a bit more attention. The only other garment that I have on the needles is my Camisole number 9. So I'm just going to, sorry. I'm just going to hold it up briefly. Sorry about my dog. If he really starts barking a lot, I'll turn it. I'll pause and come back. Right. So this is Camisole number 9, and I have not. If you already watched last week, this is the. I haven't made any progress. I haven't done anything on it. It's still one ball that's knit. The reason, I mean, I've been busy, so and this is at a point where I need to make some decisions. So that something can get left for some time for me when I have to make decisions. Or the next thing that I was going to do, which is to pick up the stitches around the neckline, that means I have to pay attention. Another reason that something might get put aside in favor of something else that is just like, you know, round and round, or, you know, knit 5, purl 3, knit 5, purl 3, whatever, something that is just more repetitive. So I'm happy with the fabric. I do like the fabric, but I think it's a little bigger than I had planned it to be. And so I was just getting a little bit nervous about that, whether I needed to rip back. If I'm not recording for another 2 weeks, there'll definitely be progress on this, because I'll be in the school holidays then, because I'm a high school maths teacher, if you didn't already know that. So there'll be progress on this next week. I am very excited to have this in my wardrobe, but I want to have it right. So, and I need to make that decision about whether all I would do, because I wouldn't rip back the whole thing, all I would do is, you can see that's the number of stitches that I've cast on under the arms. I would just cast on less. I might like take out an inch under each arm if I think it needs it. Anyway, we'll see how we go. At least to begin with, I'm going to pick up the stitches around the neckline. So this is, being a bit slack, sorry. This is Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the colorway Bark. I have 3 balls, so I have plenty of yarn. I'm using 2.75mm needles, which is 1 needle size down from the recommended pattern of 3mm, but I've knit this yarn before for my pie camisole on a 2.5mm needle, and I really like that fabric. I'm not sure why I didn't just use a 2.5. I really don't know. Anyway, I think I was worried about it being a bit too small. Now it's turned out a bit too big, but I'm certainly not ripping the whole thing back. The most I will do is, if it's a bit big, is rip this, which is still a bit of knitting, to be honest. That's still a fair bit. It's quite a lot of rows, but it's not the worst thing. I've definitely ripped back more than that, but we'll see how we go. And yes, I still think I would get a lot of wear out of this, even as the weather gets a bit cooler, but I better hurry up and finish it. Right, but that's definitely going to be school holidays before I get to that one. My last work in progress, this one actually still keeps getting quite a lot of attention because it is so repetitive. This is the Half and Half Wrap by Purl Soho. It's a free pattern. I am making the large size, which involves 260 stitches. Your stitch count always stays at 260, but you're doing a lot of short rows. That's the wrong side. So I'm using the recommended yarn, which is Purl Soho Linen Quill. And I've used, unfortunately, just over 2 skeins of the Baby Bird Blue. It would have been nice if you could get it out of 2, but I had about 80 grams left of this color, the Baby Bird Blue. And then my other color is Red Poppy. And I have, this is the first ball, and I have out of 3, and I've got 74 grams left. And let me see, last week I had 97. So I've knit 23 grams of that this week, which is about a quarter of a, that's kind of like, that seems to be about roughly, unless I was like the week before I was really madly trying to finish the blue and start the orange. But yeah, I tend to knit about a quarter of a skein a week, which means about 9 skeins, about 36 weeks. No, not 9 skeins. 2, 4 and a bit. 4 times 4, 16, 17 weeks. So it's still quite a long knit. Anyway, so that's how it's going. It is a bit crumpled in my bag, but I'm actually up to, it's amazing, even though this is 260 stitches, that is actually 86 there. 86, no, 89. 89. So, but obviously the rows are getting longer now, so it will take a while. But yes, I am enjoying that. This will be finished when it's finished, but I'm excited and enjoying knitting it. I'm knitting it using the recommended needle size, which is a 3.25mm needle, and I really like this yarn. I think it's lovely. And because I'll have about 80 grams of each of these left, and I also have 3 skeins of, because I was going to use Celadon. I'm going to grab it really quickly because it's right here. It is, what's this color called? This is the other color that I was going to use with the red poppy, but I don't know, that they felt a bit muddy together. Vintage Celadon. So I actually think I've got 3 skeins of this because obviously it was meant to be with this. So I think those 2 would be really nice in color work. And if it had color work that had a bit of a pop of a 3rd color, this would be really nice. And I think this yarn would be really good for color work. I haven't, because it's just got a little bit of texture and a little bit of like, I think this is a perfect color work yarn. I haven't actually had a look at, and you know how you can go on Ravelry and you can look up the yarn and you can look up projects and you can search and search for anything in Purl. I'll do that before I start anything just to make sure that it is good. But that's kind of what I'd be on the lookout for, a colorwork pattern that uses like a fair amount of one and then a fair amount of a second. Like that's the body of a sweater or whatever, dress, something. This is the main thing. And then maybe some pretty little pops. I think that'd be really nice. Okay, so that's that. That's it for my works in progress. Right, I am up to acquisitions. So the only acquisition that I made that is actually knitting related was this morning. I was watching Nee Knits, Amy, and she was making the Stella quilt cushion, and it just looked so nice and so fun. I thought, oh, I'd really like to make that. So I bought that pattern this morning, and I would like to just say thank you so much to people who have donated through Ko-fi. I don't know if that's how you say it, Ko-fi or Ko-fi, K-O-F-I, because when people do that, it's like, I don't expect anyone to do that. That's really over and above, and it's just somebody who wants to do that. I do appreciate it, and I really like it. And what that means is that I have a little bit of money in my PayPal account, so when I go to buy a pattern, I actually have some money in there already. So it doesn't like, I really appreciate that. Every time I buy something, I think about the people who've generously donated, and I think, oh, you know, thank you so much for that. So, but I don't want anyone to feel like they have to. Everyone's in different positions financially, and, you know, so I don't know. And I also I've not really wanted to do like a Patreon thing, and that's not to say there's anything wrong with someone who does, like to each their own. There is a space and a purpose for everybody. But for me, that's kind of how I'd like it. So it's this, everyone gets the same thing. Nobody gets more videos or less videos. You just, you know, and I reply to comments. At the moment, I can reply to everybody, but there may, I mean, probably won't, but there may come a time when I won't, or I might be so busy that I won't be able to, and I'll just be able to heart them, but I'll certainly always read them. But at the moment, I do like to reply to everybody. You know, just to, and I can, but if it gets to a point where I can't, then I'll just let people know. I won't be replying anymore because I'm just, you know, or at least for a period of time. Anyway, that's enough on that. I did just want to say thank you to those people who have supported me on Ko-fi, because I bought that Stella quilt cushion out of money that had been donated, so thank you. And I just think it's so pretty, and I was really hoping that I had stash yarn for it, and I just don't seem to. And I don't know, for something like that, I'm not real great at pulling different things together and it looking amazing. So I probably will end up being a bit intentional around it. Although I don't know, there's like 8 colors. You could use 4, like in the cushion you could use sort of 2 of the same color in alternating sections. And you can either use, there's a lot of options. You can use DK weight, or you can use fingering held double. There is even an Aran version, but I think I like the fingering or DK weight design better. I'll show you which one that one's. This is the DK weight design or fingering held double, and then this one's the Aran weight design. So I guess they're like 2 slightly different patterns, you know, with different stitch counts for the Aran one, I guess, because they're all meant to be a 50 centimeter by 50 centimeter. 50 inch would be huge. I'm not sure where I was up to and what I was saying, but I just paused and had to edit out my dog barking very loudly. So yes, the Stella quilt cushion is meant to be 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters, which is 20 inches by 20 inches. And obviously you have to buy like a standard, we don't have to, but you buy a standard quilt, cushion insert. So you want it to be the right size. So anyway, that's caught my eye and I bought that pattern, and I am now thinking about yarn that I actually have to buy for it. Like, I'd love it to be stash yarn, but it's also something that I would have like in the house on the couch. So I'd be thinking about what colors, like I could use these colors, right? Like I've got enough of these to use. And I probably have, I could use like the cream Peyton's Totem that I was thinking about using for the stripe pipe sweater. I could use that as the base because I have plenty of that. But you know, I'm not sure if I want in my house. Oh, maybe I do. Maybe that would be quite nice. That would be quite pretty, like not in the main area, but like maybe near all my knitting stuff. Maybe, I don't know, something like that. It's possible. Sorry, that's just my son's home. He's studying for his exams, so I think it was, anyway. Back on track, nearly done. So my plans, my upcoming plans, I do have school holidays coming up, so I will have some more time coming up soon, but I have 2 things that I want, that I think I mentioned last week, and they're still firmly on my list of what I want to make. Snow Wonder by Heidi Kirrmaier out of this Rerum Natura Gilliat in the colourway CL, which is just so lovely and squishy. And I definitely want to make that, and I think when I finish the Storm sweater, I will let myself cast that on. And this, I want to make the Poppy Tea by Petite Knit, and I'm going to use this Sandnes Garn Sunday and Tin Silk Mohair in the colour 4008. And when I finish Camisole number 9, that's when I'll start this one. So I just make some rules for myself. They're completely made up and my own rules, and I could break them if I wanted, but I generally don't. When I make a rule for myself, I'm like, no, I will not start that until. So if I happen to finish Camisole number 9, that's when this one will get cast on. Right, so there, and I'm excited about both of those. The only thing that's kind of sort of not making me a bit, but sort of like knowing I've got to do so many bobbles with the Snow Wonder, and I don't really normally do a lot of bobbles, but I'm sure once I get the hang of it, I'll be right. Okay, so that's it for the podcast. If you're leaving me now, I'll see you in 2 weeks. I probably won't even have time to do a tutorial. I'll do maybe some in the holidays, but I do have some planned to do, and I will get to them, but probably not till the holidays. And yes, I'll be taking next week off. So if I see you if you're leaving now, because I'm just going to get into the little bit of personal stuff, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Right, so my personal stuff, we just had the Easter weekend. I did actually go to church on Friday morning and Sunday morning, which was really lovely. I enjoy church generally, but they were really good services at Easter, and the church is always really full, and yeah, so that was good. And I also went for really nice walks with my friend Amy on Saturday and my friend Jody on Sunday, and that was really nice. Like, it's always nice, but other than that, and I think I hung out by the pool for about half an hour because we have a pool at our house with Alex, my daughter. Other than that, I worked most of the Easter weekend. We have a 4-day weekend here in Australia, and I have this experienced teacher thing that it's a lot of admin that I have to do. And I have to say, I was really quite resentful about it. Sometimes, every job has, the good bits and the bits you don't like so much. This is definitely the bit that is even worse than I don't like so much. I won't go as far, I won't use the H word. I won't say I hate it, but yeah, actually maybe I do. Yeah, it's very time consuming, and it doesn't feel like it just feels like a lot of ticker boxes. So that's all I'll say about that, except I was struggling. It was beautiful weather here. I really would have loved to have just gone out to the beach. Now it's not due till June, and we're in early April. So I've got like 3 more, May, June, no, 2 months. Okay, it is soon. And I also have other things coming up in June and July, that work-related things that I need to prepare for. So I can't, it's like an assignment's due, and even if that's not due till then, you've got another one due like straight after. So I really need to get it done. So I'm really glad I did. I made a lot of progress on it, but it was pretty boring, and I was pretty resentful, and I was pretty bummed. Like, it just really got me a bit low. Anyway, I do have school holidays coming up, and unfortunately I have to do a fair bit of it in the holidays as well. It's really, really time consuming. But when it's done, it's done. I don't have to do it again. That's the really nice thing about this. So it's, it's a benchmark. You get to experience teacher, and you don't have to like keep doing it. So yes, anyway, that's enough on that. That's enough whinging. Coming up, my son has a maths exam tomorrow. So he's in year 11, and he's in his exam block. So he's either at school doing an exam, or he's at home studying. So he has a maths exam tomorrow, and because I'm a maths teacher, he has 2 math exams. He has one tomorrow and one next Monday. So I try to help him out when he does, like he's actually at the moment, I think, he's in the office doing a practice test, and I'll mark it for him and help him out with, going through his errors and stuff. So I'm supporting him a bit there, just helping him. And what else is coming up? I'm teaching at Skein Sisters on this Saturday. What am I teaching? No, just socks from the toe up, which I'm really looking forward to. And then I've got one more week of, Wednesday today. Next week is my last week at school, and then I'm on school holidays for 2 weeks. So just a bit like, that's why I feel like I need a bit of a break from recording. So I've actually, I don't want to come on here and whinge or just be like, yeah, I'm so busy with schoolwork, and nothing's caught my eye because I haven't watched a single podcast, or, that's boring, right? So I'm going to take next week off so that I can be back in 2 weeks with hopefully lots to talk about. I mean, I have a bit, I've done a bit. I finished this, and I was really happy to record today because I finished this. But next week, I don't see myself finishing anything really by next week. I probably won't watch a single podcast. There probably won't be much for me to share next week. So I thought, well, that's why I'll take next week off. Yes, so what was I going to say? So yes, in 2 weeks' time, I'll be on school holidays, and hopefully I'll have more to share. The other thing that is coming up is next Wednesday night. I've got one thing that is exciting to look forward to. My husband and I are going to see the band live. I really enjoy their music, and so that's a week today. So that's something nice to look forward to. And then after that will be school holidays. So I'll be able to share about that next time I record what I thought of them. And the only other thing that will come up in school holidays, I'm going to make sure I do sew something. I'm going to sew something, and I'm going to warp up the loom. So I don't know if that will be done by next time I record, but certainly somewhere in the holidays I want to do those 2 things. So I found that during that weekend, when I was getting a bit resentful, that I needed to do at least something nice for myself. So I started reading 20 pages a day of a book, and also my friend Amy lent me this book, and I want to get it back to her, and it's 280 pages long. And so I thought, well, if I read 20 pages a day, it'll be done in 2 weeks. And then I thought, well, that's at least one thing nice for me. So I'm up to page 60. I have to say, it's not a novel. But it's lots of little, when you have just lots of little sections of conversations with people, or an article that she'd read, or information about something, and I'm not loving it yet. It just feels a little bit surface, a bit on this, a bit on that, a bit on something else. So it's I don't hate it, but I'm not super into it, but I'm only reading 20 pages a day anyway. So, but it does feel a bit like, if I'm doing this as my sort of fun thing, or my thing for myself, I'd like to be enjoying it a bit more. So I'm not really loving it. I'm thinking I might actually go back to, I do need to get this back to Amy though. So I will keep up with this. I don't like to borrow things and have them for too long, but I think maybe this will be in the school holidays, never let me go. I do want to get back to that because I'm still only, I think I'm up to only about page. I start this is what I do. I start 20 pages a day, and I'm really good for that for about 5 or 6 days, or for this I was on a chapter a day. And then after about a week, I miss one day, and then maybe I'll, I think, oh, I'll catch up the next week, whatever. I end up falling off the wagon. So it starts off really well, and then I lose momentum. So like I didn't read yesterday. So now I'm like, oh, do I read 40 pages today, or silly, should just, I'm going to read my 20 pages. I do want to get through it. I am interested in it, and it's a very quick and easy read. That's enough, I think. Sorry, I'm going to go now. Thank you for watching, and yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel by liking and subscribing, and if you do donate on Coffee, I really appreciate that, but don't feel like you need to. It's a really nice thing if there's people want to be able to give back and they're able to. But honestly, people's comments and the nice things that they say and sharing about their own stuff, that's why I'm doing this. I really enjoy it, and that's why I didn't want to, even when I was getting really busy, I didn't want to stop doing it. I wanted to keep doing this because I love doing it, and I love the whole community aspect and hearing about what other people are up to. So thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. But yes, busy time at the moment, so I'd rather just come back in 2 weeks when I have a little bit more to share, and I've got a little bit more, like I'm less sort of like work. So anyway. We all go through periods of time like that. So anyway, I hope everyone's enjoying their knitting, and yeah, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.